Welcome everyone to this week's NIM community call. I promised you an interesting and exciting guest for this week's call, and I'm delivering. So for today's call, we have Aaron Nev with us, who you hopefully know already from the video he published about and sort of with Harry Halpin, NIM CEO. How's it going, Aaron?
I'm great. How are you going? It's good to be
Very
here.
good. I'm legitimately very excited about this call. I've been going through your content. I'm absolutely loving it. I also really like the video that you made with Harry, so I also wanted to touch on that a bit later on. So I'm very, very excited to have you on. You are in Australia, right?
Yes, I am in Australia. So it's an odd time for me. It's like midnight, so it's kind of like what time's witching hour? I'm not sure what that is, but it's like, it's good. But I honestly, I'm a bit in the time zone with I was in the UK for a few years, so I'm kind of, I don't know, half. I always work late, just when everyone else is awake in the world, right? So.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing it at this hour. In my time zone, it's 3 p.m. right now. We're literally on the like different sides of the planet, quite literally. So big thanks for joining me. Hopefully the latency and connection quality is going to be okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, just the usual intro. Of course, we're gonna keep an eye on your questions. So, if you have any questions to Aaron or myself during the conversation, make sure to leave them in the YouTube chat, or you can also leave them in the Twitch chat if you're, of course, watching us on Twitch. Or if you don't want to compromise your privacy and log in on either of those platforms, you can also leave your questions on the general topic of the NIM element server. We're also keeping an eye there. So thank you in advance for the great questions. Hopefully you will enjoy this chat, which will be about, the impending doom of the world and what we can possibly do about it together by building better technologies. But I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because, Aaron, although I watched a few of your videos, and I also took a look at your Substack, a quick look. Both of those will be linked in chat for our audience. I don't know much about you, so maybe let's get started with a self intro. What should people know about you?
Yeah. Wish I knew. I guess the very the one liner would be I've made internet media my whole life in many different ways since I could probably type on a keyboard. So yeah, I was but literally just every single type of internet media you can think of. I was in a band and just was creating viral, trying to hack media basically, because obviously just trying to reach people and get distribution out there. And then I worked in advertising, and I think that's one of the reasons I basically, the way I think about it, I helped build the surveillance machine. So I know the other side very intimately. I was onboarding brands to Facebook, like literally pitching them, you should be on Facebook. I was installing little pics on people's pages. I just didn't really realize what was, now I'm much more aware, obviously. And then, I started making YouTube videos and lots of YouTube to, I don't know, in every different facet you can think of, just TikTok cartoons about virality. And therefore I've seen and experienced the algorithm change a lot to where it is now. And I think that's why I've drawn a lot of interest, and maybe I'm here. I think the surveillance machine isn't just watching people. I think it's the way that it's used to communicate back in the way that changes people's behavior. And there's a real, it can be quite a big thing to unravel if you get deep. But yeah, I'd say a career in making weird internet media.
Jumping right into it. By the way, so influencing behavior is actually the end game of the surveillance machine. Shoshana Zuboff also talks about it in the age of surveillance capitalism. It's actually first you collect behavioral data, of course. Yeah, very good book. If anyone in the audience hasn't read it and wants to have an enlightening but very dark few days while you're reading through it, definitely recommend it. It's basically the Bible of this space, and it really it lays out very well the whole system of this new surveillance capitalism. Not so new anymore. All right, man. Big thanks again for joining. I'm very excited about this. Let's maybe jump into your video with Harry, because according to the video, you mentioned in it a couple of times that it sent you. You just, you know what? I will just let you take over. Talk about it.
Yeah. I think I've always, yeah. So I was invited to it was a midnight summit in London. It was when I was living in London. It was around the corner, well, not around the corner, but close enough. And so I was invited, and I was like, cool. I didn't know it. I've been in crypto for a few years, but I've never really been like in the industry, I guess you say. Like, I don't know that many people. I've been like kind of making content, know some people. So yeah, meeting Harry on the street was just a random, it really was a random event. I had no idea who he was. I genuinely had no idea. And only had 5 minutes of footage too. So I sat on it for like 8 months. There was that conversation, and probably also I interviewed Charles Hoskinson, and that was another conversation. I think the whole event was, someone from the MI5 was there. It was quite weird, the group of people, considering the context, like both sides of it. And that kind of, I think, talking to Charles as well, a lot of the end of the world conversation came up, and I was very focused on asking him, do you think the world will end? Because I'm quite fascinated with, I mean, hopefully the world not ending, if we can have anything to do with it. So it kind of sent me on a rabbit hole of cryptography. I was very disenchanted with where the tech was. I kind of entered accidentally after a project ended a couple of years ago, and NFTs and all that kind of stuff. It was honestly, NFTs were already zero. I decided to start getting into it. And I'd previously just held loose, like low amounts of stuff for the period before that. But I just wasn't, I thought the industry was kind of crap. I didn't like gambling stuff. I didn't like trading so much. But I was really passionate about decentralization and the tech empowering people to take control of their own life. And I felt things drifting more and more away from that vision, and I couldn't figure out the pieces of that and how it connected back to everything. So that event, meeting Harry, I was like, oh shit, this stuff is still, it's like, there's so many pockets of how the tech exists. And then one thing led to another. I started reading the actual cypherpunk papers. The bear hit, it's in November, and I got really deep into just heaps of stuff. I ended up studying an AI safety course as well. And I think there's a opportunity for like AI safety that hasn't really been explored much by like cryptography and its role in even that hack that happened yesterday with OpenAI. Like, I don't think the sandbox had any cryptography involved in that sandbox. It's like, why? It doesn't make any sense. Like, cryptography is one of the only things that AI can't break through. So I think there's like, I guess I got really fascinated at how cryptography has a new role to solve in decentralization that's not just finance. And it's like probably something to do with self and identity and probably safety, really. And NIM is, honestly, I just think, well, yeah, it was a really cool opportunity to tell the story for Harry, and that he trusted me to even talk about some of the stuff that he, like the activism stuff and the spy cops and everything, like, you know. So that's probably the very long rundown of, yeah, privacy. It's not just privacy though. It's kind of broader.
What is it? What is it if not just privacy?
I mean, your soul. Like, I do think that there's very big existential questions that start to come up when, like, technology affects us. I mean, more than I could probably really even think about deeply enough in any moment. But I think in that video with Harry, there was the philosophy of Bernard Stiegler, but there's also Postman in the 90s. I think it goes kind of further back in other types of media, because I've basically looked at media theory more than anything, with like the way it affects people's minds, because obviously my background in media. But when you use technology, you're giving something away. And that was like with Plato, if you start writing things down, you're not remembering stuff as much. And with TV and the internet, you're kind of putting more information in your brain, which is really great. You can have access to so much stuff, but you're not thinking as much about those things. I mean, you're slowly losing critical thinking, and that's good and bad. You have access.
How is it good? I've never heard that.
I don't think
before.
it's good. I don't think it's good. I think I'm trying to be positive about it. I mean, you're right to call me out. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be positive. My brother-in-law asked me, I think it was 2 months ago, he said, I think I'm getting dumber. And he goes, like, do you think it's like my phone? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like when you're watching like shorts specifically, I'm like, do you actually stop and think about them? And if you think about the process of, you just thought like a short going through over and over and over again, and it's like you're not actually 2 or 3 seconds. The repetitive action of just like, it's TikTok is designed on gambling algorithm. Like when you get a viral video, that's like a feature, and you're getting it's technically clever. It's very addictive though. And that obviously affects your brain. And that's what all technology does. When you get something, you are giving something away. Everything has an opportunity cost. And I think with AI now, what is that we're giving away? And I think we're starting to see that with like what is being called AI psychosis and other things, but you're also getting a massive amount of like benefit. So when looking at privacy and surveillance and everything else, having a boundary of like what's revealed, it can, I don't know, it just has I haven't completely figured it out, to be honest. This is a big enigma of the access to your data, which is then used to communicate to you in a certain way. This big loop of potential psyop, propaganda, slopaganda, everything. What's your thoughts on it? I'm curious.
Look, man, so here's the thing. I just before this chat, I watched your video about, what was the title? Breaking, or I changed or broke the YouTube algorithm, something like that.
Yeah.
And in that you introduced Rosetta, one of the tools that you built. Saul, actually, can you please drop a link to it in chat? I'm just trying to basically keep myself from talking about that instead of the whole privacy stuff, because there's so much to say these days about getting dumber. I can also feel it in myself. The way I find information today is so much different from my earlier years, even compared to like the early days when I started using YouTube. I just went to channels and looked whether they uploaded something, and now it's all like algorithmically mediated. It's just a feed that, you know, puts like a bunch of videos there which it thinks I'm gonna react to, and that's important. You will explain in the video why I don't actually want to necessarily watch it, but I react to it, right? That's what the algorithm optimizes for. And it just has this like very fundamental impact on all of us, not to mention shorts and the attention span and the addiction mechanisms and the 5th generational warfare that basically all countries are doing against each other on this substrate, you know. I have a lot to say on this, but
it's dark. It's
kind of crappy. But I feel like maybe tools like Rosetta actually could be the way out, possibly. It basically puts a front on the internet, which is now, which only has this algorithm front now, basically. By and large, you can find, of course, other ways of engage, or like content in other ways, but it's mostly, if you look at the successful big channels where people access content, it's all this algorithmically mediated style, right? It's the race to the brainstem. It's getting people hooked and finding min-maxing what will glue their eyeballs to the screen, so that they watch as many ads as possible, right?
And it changes what people make as well. And I think that's like the really negative, like, because you have to, it's always motivation, right? And the same with technically surveillance. Like surveillance will increase because that's the motivation mechanic is you can get data and make money, or you can get your message out there, and that's like technically what's accelerated things so much. And with media as a content creator, you go, okay, well, in order for me to actually have a career, or for me to do X or whatever, I have to do the formula. And the formula is you do a hook at the start, you drag out people enough time, because then you get the watch retention. That watch retention then sends the signal that they're going to spend more time. The algorithm goes, this is really good, we get more ad space. And then that's just like you race to the bottom, and then all of a sudden all of the content is just about not how, yeah, not positive, like things you're trying to, not why people actually make art or like create things. Like if no one writes a song to, I don't know, sell them something necessarily. Sometimes you do, but I think that's like probably the problem with the internet. It's like reached that late stage, which links back into, I'm not even trying to find, but like for me, this is like the convergence of everything. It's reached the point where like the entire internet is a horrible place to be, which makes me very sad because I love the internet. And if everything's an ad and the only reason people are using it is to sell people things, it's not a very good place. And I fundamentally don't think that that's like the place that people want. And I think that that place will come back, and it takes tools and things being created for those options to exist. But right now, even the way people use bots, if people are opting out and using a bot to be on social media, it's a very clear signal that they don't want to be there. They're trying to replace it immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I have to agree with you. It's very sad to agree with you on this, but yes, the internet just did become, over my lifetime, it was such a good place before, you know? It was and it was so hopeful as well to humanity that now we have this tool which is connecting all of us, you know, regardless of country. And it's like this like neutral piping that exists in between all of us. And then we started creating this like these huge centralized like monoliths, you know, like Google and Amazon, and all their business model is, you know, is like mining your attention and creating, and that created this whole economy of like hypernormal stimulus that gets us hooked, and it just distorts everything. It's very, it's very sad indeed. What I wanted to talk to you about, or what I wanted to ask you about, though, is I looked at your channel, right, and your interview with Harry. Which I can't remember the exact title, but it's something to the tune of, you know, there's a like a secret anti, like a oh wait, well, let me just find it.
Nemesis, the
nemesis of Palantir, right? And it did very well. It was it blew up. It almost has 500,000 views, lots of comments, lots of thoughts shared. We saw the same with Harry's anti-Palantir manifesto that he shared earlier in response to Karp's incredibly dystopian and just very weird and scary manifesto that he himself shared, which a lot of people call techno-fascist. I can't really disagree with them. It is like a good manifesto for techno-fascism. And that also blew up, right? It made the waves. Why do you think there's such a... To me, this is heartwarming. It was also very heartwarming, by the way, just so you guys know, I've been with Nim for over 4 years now. It is a job, right? I do a lot of administration and a bunch of like boring stuff. It's not, you know, fighting for the cause every day. But when I was reading Harry's anti-Palantir manifesto, I was like, that is exactly why I'm here. Like that is like precisely why I'm here. It was a very heartwarming feeling, and it's also nice to see the response, like the overwhelming response. There seemed to be a need for this type of stuff and these thoughts in the world, and people are open to it. Why do you think that is? I think it's a very good sign. But yeah, let's talk about it.
I mean, how long until people say they've had enough, I think is, I think AI has had this really interesting, everything has accelerated. So the way things were before, it was already bad, right? And I think I can think about my own feelings. Like I kind of had the thought, I was like, I know what they're doing with my data, you know, whatever, like it sucks. I wasn't really doing anything that, like I did care about privacy, but there was like a point where I'm like, I don't want to fight for the cause as much. Like I'm not, like right now I feel like a burning rage that something needs to be done, because I can see what this acceleration does. And AI basically has accelerated all of the abilities of everything. And the profits, it's the middle class. I mean, we get into so many different things, but like everything where there's like the stretching of the differences in income, like everything throughout is just accelerated. So all the problems are getting accelerated. And I think Palantir coming out with their aggressive kind of surveillance-based things, you have the tensions in different wars. It's very obvious now that the data is being used without any form of, like, it's pure capitalism. And obviously capitalism has a lot of benefits. You say it's more than capitalism, but it's just being used with no care for the user. And I think this is obviously my personal feelings. Like, capitalism is good when a free market, because it creates motivation to make a better product. And I think that's why I really like Nim. I think Nim is a better product. It is the other option for exactly the same thing. Like, you can block out bad things from happening. But like, all of your data gets sold. I think it's a $310 billion data broker marketplace now. It's obviously been going on for a while. It's getting scraped and put into AI models. Obviously the musicians and everything. There's a $1.5 billion book deal this week with Anthropic. I think it works like $3,000 per book for the AI to then be trained on it and consumed forever.
Yeah, that was a out of court settlement, I think, right? Which Anthropic will have to pay for pirating those books. Yes. And it's just the lawsuit actually included many millions of books which were pirated, but actually they only the judge only gave only ruled for like 500,000 of them, which is a small portion. It was kind of like a pretty important ruling in terms of precedence and everything. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I agree, it was, but I think it's like really the weird. I mean, I get into like it's really strange with situations like that, because there's obviously a lot of people represented in that situation, and it's already done. The damage is already done. Yeah. Like, and I think that's what's been happening for like such a long period of time, is like human, like the better alternative. Every single time one could have come. I mean, Zuckerberg obviously has bought it out or destroyed it by creating the same feature again. And like doing things like that, it's been like just business practices that you could say is like quite, I think the tech industry, I'm very pro tech. I love tech tattooed all over my arms. However, there's more, it's harder to open a chicken shop in terms of regulation and things you have to get right for human safety. Like, if you're going to serve off chicken, than to start an algorithm that can affect someone's brain and give children, now we know, like, potentially like brain damage. And I think that's like, I'm not necessarily a fan of regulation in different ways. Like, I think it's a nuanced thing, but you need to self-regulate and go, hang on a second, we've like, we're doing some cooked things. And because that hasn't happened, I think all of the data is starting to come out, and I haven't really said this in anywhere, but I big tobacco, how that kind of went down. It's like, we didn't know the physical impact on our body. And now we're slowly learning that, like, mental health, we know mental health affects us just like our physical health, and it's being accepted more. And I think this technology does affect the mind. It affects it a lot. And we have to be aware that the way the technology is used can either have really, really great impact or really, really bad impact. And I think that maybe the good part hasn't been prioritized enough. And I think the data is starting to come out. I think people aren't stupid. I think they can be treated like they're stupid. That makes them more angry. And I think just over time, the Orwellian, like, more cameras, more everything, more data, like boiling frogs, things reach a point where, it's just bad. So people are fighting back. So in terms of why these videos did well, people really care. They're trying to find a place to put their feelings of doing something about the problem.
Yeah. And it does feel, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. No.
It does feel like an intractable, like an incredibly huge sort of problem that is towering over us. Just looked at for when I was preparing for this call, just looked at the market cap of Palantir. It's like $300 billion. So it's like, I'm Hungarian. It's almost twice the GDP of my country, or like 1.5 times, And it's one of the smaller ones. Like Nvidia is 5 trillion now. which is like as big as the German economy. All of these companies are involved in like a really worrying, massive, like a circular buying scheme where they're buying stuff from each other in like a very worrying way. Like it's very frothy and bubbly. So this could easily turn into something like a Great Depression 2, which is also something that, you know, is not very easy to look forward to. But ultimately, hopefully not. I really hope not. But you know, it's in the cards when you throw around hundreds of billions of dollars in like circular purchasing deals amongst your friends. You know, basically companies. Not great stuff. Not very confidence inducing. But at the end of the day, look, I'm 35. I got my first phone when I was 12, and it was a Nokia 5210, I believe. 5310, sorry. It was waterproof and shockproof. It has
bricks.
Yeah.
I think mine's a 3310. I got one tatted on my arm.
Nice. It's an icon. It had a screen of about this size, but it had orange backlight, which was very cool at the time, ladies and gentlemen. That's if you wanted
cool.
Yeah, it's still actually very cool. And if you wanted to customize your phone, you could take it to like these GSMs, and they would swap the backlights. And I had mine customized to have like white keyboard backlight and then orange screen backlight. And I was the coolest kid in school by far, you know, bar none. I was very, very cool. Different times, right? I could not go on TikTok and you know, be attacked by like a foreign government with some kind of a misinformation campaign, or you know, I didn't become like a, I don't know, flat Earth believer in like 5 minutes of jumping on the internet. And of course, I'm just like basically picking two balls from the lottery of shitty things that can happen with you on the internet today. So seeing people who are much younger than I am, I think we're probably about the same age, right? You and I.
Yeah, I'm 33, so pretty much the same. We had the same come up, so to say. We got the really interesting. I feel like, I don't know. I it's just like had no internet or computer and got to, you know, went outside, and then got the other side and felt the rapid, as a like adolescent, growth of like video games and how things changed over time. I think that's also why I probably, I don't know how you feel. It's like I can feel the change very literally. Yeah, it's just how, you know, there's benefits. There's good stuff and bad stuff, but it's yeah.
On all of this, before we get into a bit more specifically, get into a bit more about Palantir, I would be super interested to hear your thoughts on that lovely company. I wanted to talk about the, you know, you brought up this idea in your video about Nim and Harry, the Pharmacon. So I was just wondering whether you agree with the thesis that technology is fundamentally neutral, and I mean as a force or as like a substrate to build things on, and then it's always the intent that gives it polarity, you know, positive or negative. Is that something that you agree with or no? It's a tricky question. A lot of people disagree with it. A lot of people agree with it.
It is a tricky question. I'm just thinking about the conversations I've like debated this with one of my close friends all the time. Well, not debated, but I can tell it's like it's good to think about in different directions, right? Like I think I always have defaulted to thinking that technology is neutral. Like that's probably still where I sit. That like technology is like language, right? So like language is technology. It was like one of the first ones. The wheel, fire. Like you really think about tech, writing. It goes, now we have like all the different things too. They all impacted us in different ways, and every single one of them you could use them in a positive and negative way. Like language, you could obviously manipulate people, and you could tell them that you love them. Two very different outcomes. So, but I think is humanity inherently good and beautiful? I think again that's like, you know, if you can do bad things. Technology is powerful, very, very powerful. maybe, yeah. I like to think that it's not going to be inherently bad. I think that question starts to get more complicated with AI and what it is, whether it's just predictive text. It is technically an algorithm in of itself, right? Is it conscious? Is like, where does this go? When an AI goes into a robot, and when we're installing robotic parts into our body, like, where does this go? Is this all the reality? I think that's when maybe some things could be more inherently bad. Yeah, that's probably a non-answer, really. I'm dancing around that question a lot, so
I think it's
hard to give you a solid answer.
Listen, it's a fair question to dance around, because it's it's hard to answer. Before I attempt my answer, before I attempt to give you my answer,
I was about to say, you gotta.
Can we give a bit more context on Pharmacon? Sal, our producer here, is pointing out that people may not know that. Actually, watch the video about Harry, our dear audience. Okay, it's linked in chat. We're gonna drop another link to it. It's very good, and it's explained, so Aaron can rehash it real quick here.
Yeah. So Pharmacon is technically an old philosophy from, ancient times. Plato and Socrates, and very long time ago. And it basically means the poison and the cure. So like, something can be both. The poison can be the cure. Like, more pictures here. And Plato, it's actually like a really beautiful irony. Socrates at the time was extremely worried about writing, that writing would make us all forgetful, and we would lose our ability to think, critical thinking, I guess. Funny parallels. And Plato wrote it down. And now we know about it. And if Plato didn't write it down, we wouldn't know about it. We wouldn't know that Socrates felt that way. We wouldn't know any of that history. So, yes, you could say that you forget things because you don't have to remember things, but you can actually remember way more, because butterfly effect, if we don't want to get into it. You apply that then later on in more technologies, the atomic bomb, the nuclear power plant. Obviously, you can say nuclear power plant's bad, but it's technically clean energy, and as that technology's evolved, it could be quite a good thing. You can apply it to, I guess, the internet. You've got the invention of cookies and tracking and data, but you've also got the access to open information and sharing and community and online. And it's basically, it's a double-edged sword. There's two sides to the way Bernard Stiegler, the stuff I didn't go into in the video, is his thoughts were basically humans are inherently technical creatures, and therefore it kind of, the way we use technology, it's like an extension of however we use the tech. So if you're going to use it for evil things, it's a poison, and you can poison the world. If you use it for good things, it can be good things. Now, I hope I didn't butcher that, because that's someone that mentored Harry. And Harry, the reason I found out about this philosophy is Harry wrote a paper when Bernard passed. I think it was 2020, and it was like it's a beautiful kind of tribute, nice read. And so I hope they didn't butcher it. Harry can call it out and be like, man, you really.
Everything the audience, he told me that he's gonna listen in. Hopefully he's listening live. Harry, if he butchered it, then let me know in DM on Zulip, and I will tell him. Okay,
fix it right.
We'll correct
now,
the record. No, I think based on what I know, which is also somewhat limited, I think that was actually correct. A good summary. I can't leave you without an attempted, because you attempted to answer the very difficult question. So now I'll do that as well.
I'll love your take. I really want to know. Yeah.
Listen, I'll also dance around a little bit, okay? Because I'm also probably not gonna give you like a very clear answer, because it's a hard question to answer, right? Whether tech is neutral or not. I think there are arguments for both sides. Tech, as in a technology that's already built, like a piece of technology, like this mouse, or NIM, or I don't know, Palantir's this or that algorithm, which I don't know, like compiles all the information from all of these different illegally obtained sources or whatever. That is not neutral. It can't be neutral. Like you can't there is a bit of an argument to be made that, you know, for example, NIM can be used for bad stuff, but the idea that is coded into it is fundamental freedom for you to have your own privacy, right? And to be free of surveillance in a technologically sort of guaranteed way. This is the way of the cypherpunk, right? It's not law which can be broken, you know, or not followed, or just you know, understood like flexibly in some situations. No, it's technologically through cryptography. It's technologically guaranteed to us, right? That's that's the philosophy that's baked into NIM. Similarly, right, if you create some tool to sort of get a bunch of data sources and sort of put them in like one searchable database, which I assume Palantir is doing a lot of. It's part of their business model. That's also sort of, it's not ambiguous, right? But on the other hand, technology as a substrate, which allows us to build this thing and that thing, like coding, for example, I would say is neutral. And I would say that technology, the best way I like to think about technology, this is an idea from Daniel Schmachtenberger, and I love it. I think it's a very good frame to think about it, is a lever on our decision making. So on like human decision making, basically. If you have, let's say I make the decision or I have the intent to hurt as many people as possible, okay? If I don't have any technology, I go out on the street and I will start beating people up, and maybe I meet someone who's stronger than me and beats me up, or the police comes and I can barely hurt anyone, right? Now, if I have the exact same intent, but you give me increasingly powerful technology, right? For example, a knife, then a gun, then like something like a machine gun, and then a nuclear bomb, right? The intent is the same, but the outcome has a lever on it. Like I push like a longer levered sort of arm. I really like this thinking. I feel like this is a very good way to frame the situation we're in, because we are on the verticalizing. Sorry, I'm doing this the wrong way. This is how you see it. So the technological development is an exponential curve, right? We are on the verticalizing section of it now. So it's like getting faster in like sort of like an incomprehensible rate now, that our technological development. And during these times, you know, the lever on our decisions is like also growing like exponentially longer, right? And the thing with decisions that we make is that often there are unintended consequences. So even though the intent is either not there or even maybe opposite, when you make a technology, the outcome with this huge lever on it now, right, will be sometimes like, ooh, we didn't want that, but it actually happened. So for example, I'm fairly certain that nobody in the building days of Facebook, right, in the early days of Facebook, when it was just basically like a dating app for college people, and it started like blowing up from there. Nobody ever wanted to turn it into like a machine that sort of produces all of this content, which gets people's mind rutted, and then, you know, its business model is to surveil everyone and get the behavioral surplus, and then, you know, like become this like mega surveillance machine with billions of people sort of like under its influence, right? But that's an unintended consequence with a very, very long lever arm attached to the decision that was made originally, which was to, you know, like put people in the system and let them interact with each other, and then have all of the things that influence everything in our world. Of course, you know, capitalism, for example, you got to make money somehow. It was determined or noticed that the good thing that turns into money is actually attention. That's what became like the currency of the internet. And the rest is history, right? Well, we're here. So this is the tricky problem. I think, in my opinion, if we want to think about things that we can do to sort of save the world, basically. I don't want to sound like narcissistic or you know, I don't have like illusions of grandeur or whatever. I'm not going to save the world, but collectively, if we want to save the world, in my opinion, we have to become better at thinking about the second and third order consequences, because as we are on this verticalizing part of this curve, our decisions are just going to be like exponentially more impactful in ways that we don't actually expect them to be. Sorry, long rant.
Yeah,
I'll pass the mic.
I agree. I think that the only thing I challenge you on is that I think think that like how to like saving the world and as like concept. I think even like the belief of someone's impact. Like I think if you think you can do good for the world, like that being over the top isn't a bad thing. Like really, like it collectively, it takes effort of everyone to make something happen. But I just think that there's a like the cult there's a so I agree. Like I've actually battled. Like I made my Substack that I'm probably gonna change it because I'm like, man, this is a stupid name. I can't even ridiculous. Like I think about the site.
Oh wait,
like St. Jude had
wait, I forgot to mention this actually, ladies and gentlemen. It was in my intro text, but Aaron's Substack currently, maybe he will rename it after this conversation.
Might change it. That's yeah. I mean that's how I feel. I mean it's why I'm bringing it up. Like it's been in my mind, you know.
It's How to Save the World, and I think it's a good. It's a good name. It's a good name for a Substack, and you should be ambitious with your with the name of your Substack.
Yeah, I mean like I feel uncomfortable about it. And I think that's almost the point. It's like we are in a time where we should be asking questions that big. Like we should be saying that we need to do big things, and it is ridiculous. Like, but there is if maybe AI is a massive scam and it's all a lie. But what if they're right? like what if human extinction is on the cards? What if life on Earth is on the cards to end? Because it is the equivalent of a nuclear bomb, and people can make bioweapons. Like all the different there's a bunch of different threat models that can play out, right? Like what if that is true? Well, then we need to be asking these questions. And like I think that like I'm very passionate about cryptography having a fundamental role in that, and I that's probably why I'm on my current arc of I want more people to be thinking about cryptography's role in that, because it is literally, it's like finance is what most people think about, and yeah, that's true, but cryptography is rails. It's digital rails, and those rails can apply to literally anything. It's the thing that AI can't break through if you have quantum resistant, like let's say kill switches. Like there's already been tests where AI are turning off their own kill switch, like robots. How do you stop that? It's cryptography. So like, how do you say the what? It's like the cypherpunks, like you do it by having not too much power concentration. Like these things are happening in the world right now, like to massive degrees. Finding ways to empower individuals and all that kind of stuff. I just maybe I'm being romantic of like the stories you hear of the 90s. The 90s was a cool time.
No, the 90s were a cool time. And if any youngsters are watching these two boomers talk about how bad the world is, that is because you think only we're not boomers. We're totally fine people. We're not old at all. I don't have back pain every morning. That's scandalous, very offensive to tell me that. One, and two, you didn't live in the 90s. Those were the times.
It was, the computer's dial-up sounds. I mean, it was good. I think that's the slow, and the authenticity of like, it's, you see like the songs from 10 years ago going viral and becoming number one, and like I'm enjoying reading books like from like, and I've even thinking like it's not contaminated by AI. Like that's literally the thoughts that have been going in my head. I'm like, okay, I know that this is like because I think AI, it could be great eventually, but right now it's mostly slop. Like all the AI stuff, that most of the stuff's coming out is like it's actually bad content. Sometimes you get like a really beautiful piece of like, oh wow, but most of the time it's regurgitated, like it's a waste of, like it's like, it's might change though. It should change. But yeah, I think it's just early days. Like I don't want to get so negative, man. I don't want to be negative about. It's hard. It's like being aware of where things are, but we're in a conversation with tech that is aimed to fix that. And I think that's again, back to the philosophy of Pharmacon. Like, I think putting your head in the sand and pretending things aren't, there's things to fix would be wrong.
Without it's easy to be doomer about stuff these days, but I will also mention that there were so many times in human history where I can imagine the people who lived in those eras felt like way worse than we do currently. It was like totally hopeless. Just imagine someone I don't know, maybe having their early adulthood during the Second World War, like they were born, sometime near shortly after the First World War, and then like living through that. It's just it's unimaginable, right? But things ultimately usually get better. So hopefully we won't reach that sort of darkness, and things will. Humanity is incredibly powerful. We are actually. I think we have both ends of the spectrum in us at the same time, and in all of us, which is like the worst possible and the absolute best possible. And I feel like ultimately the good always wins. Maybe I'm naive, but I want to believe that.
No, I think that feeling is pretty. I agree that it's like you could probably earmark a lot of different times in history. Like humanity is very resistant to change. Like even it's like a small scale and a really big scale, but like very adaptable. I think like COVID proved that. There's so many times in history, like, oh yeah, like kind of like a cockroach, you know, like there's a little crack, you know, like almost if it gets harder, we bounce back stronger. And like you think the cockroaches are gone, but no, they actually prefer it when it's like dying. All of a sudden, it's like you can just survive through, you know, very resilient, which is a good thing. But yeah, the ages of human history is pretty at the dark age. There's so many different times, you know.
Now, on that very positive note, we made sure to end on a positive note, because now we're actually going to jump into the community questions,
Nice.
the Q&A. First
How
of all,
about humanity?
Yeah, exactly. First of all, from just this is not a question. Just I had good fun with this comment from Oceans Pacific. Back in my day, no disrespect though. Yeah, we were definitely doing the handshakey back in my day. Or actually, since Harry just left us a comment, let's maybe start with that. Hey everyone, this is Harry. I just like to thank Nev for his video. It really was the best video on myself and the terrifying global situation we've never ever had. Yes, I have to second this, by the way. I know Harry personally. I've known him for quite some time now, and your video was one of the best sort of like actual like renderings of the human that Harry is. So very well done there.
Right, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's I genuinely feel grateful to have been able to, like, I think Harry's had an incredible life. I think there probably could be, it's like obviously a heaps of life to go, but like it's just even being open to telling that story. And I think for me, I make videos, like I genuinely like I love telling stories, but the reason I love it is having someone on the other side actually connect with it, and they can take something away that is hopefully positive, like we're talking about here. And there was comments saying like they feel hope for the first time in a couple of years, and that's like because Harry and you guys are building tech that can actually create that, which does feel like a hopeless situation. And it not just from it, even if you don't agree with the tech doing that, the fact that you are actually doing something to try to change the situation, it shows that like that creates other, like that's a snowball. So yeah, I'm grateful to be able to. I'm grateful that the algorithm was kind. You know?
The algorithm gods were kind. We'll have the algorithm chat at some point. I'll bring you back on these calls, and we have to.
You know, you can tell that the algorithm's like my own nemesis is the algorithm.
Thanks for the comment, Harry, and thanks for being here with us. First community question is from Rocio, our beloved community contributor, and she asks, "What did you learn after the conversation with Harry?"
I mean, I feel like it's like a lot. There's the things that I went away to learn. I mean, I didn't even know much about academia. Like there's functional things like academia. I read that, like I was like, okay, I didn't really go back and read papers. I just saw no value in it. Like I'm not someone that comes from, like, it doesn't matter. So I think it did change my worldview on a lot of different things. I cared about privacy, but it made me think about the world differently. So it'd probably be easier to think about the things that I didn't learn. I think it's nice to meet people who have values and morals and they put them above other things. It's rare, like to just care about the world. But I think that will change when people do that. So what did I learn? I think it probably rekindled the feeling of hopelessness is how I felt. So what did I learn was like, it's probably more of a change from that in my mindset of, I can do something. I almost quit making videos. I was just like, man, it's like, and so it was kind of, there's that, I think.
Awesome. I'm genuinely happy to hear that, man, and glad you're sticking around making videos as well, because I actually grown quite fond of your content. Thank you for the question, Rocio. Next one is from Ginny. Question is, what's your privacy stack, Aaron?
So this is bad. This is the thing. Like, I've been like very unhygienic with my data for a very long time. I think I kind of was like, okay, I'm already thrown to the wolves. Like I'm like, so I stopped. Now I use Brave, Signal, NEM, obviously, and I mean, is that really what I've got? I don't use like graphene or anything. I haven't gone that turbo yet. I'm Apple at the moment. Although the Windows is quite, that new tracking thing came out too, so that's definitely not the right option. The new tracking ID on the Windows devices. Yeah, I don't know. What's your stack? Do you have it? What am I missing in my stack?
Actually, I just wanted to say that you were sort of apologetic when you started this, but that's a very good stack. Like Brave, Signal, and NIM. That's top notch. You have like 85-90% covered.
Yeah, and Venice with AI inference sometimes when I want to not feel like I'm getting psyoped. But yeah.
Look, the big thing. So for me, I will tell you what's missing from my stack. Okay, what like the gaping hole in my stack currently is that I am on Windows. I'm a Windows power user. I learned throughout my many years to use Windows and to do things on Windows, and this sort of kept me in this like hate-love relationship on Windows for all this time. That's changing this year. I'm committing to this, ladies and gentlemen, right now. Okay, our dear audience, Sudo is switching to Linux this year because I've had enough of the bullshit. Like Microsoft is in.
That news is crazy. It's actually like to have a device tracking ID which rules out everything. Like that is like is a like almost a zero, not a 0 day, but like it's just all your other privacy stuff is just gone because it's just the device level.
Yeah, and as you can see from this, can we maybe find this? Wait a second. Windows GUID news.
It's only very recent, last 2 or 3 days. I haven't completely.
Here it is. So it's. I'm just gonna send it on the Hacker News forum. Everybody, I suggest everyone reading this. This is not the only reason. So like, this was the manyth nail in the coffin of my Windows use, but this was the end.
How long did you last? Your life? Like your whole life in Windows?
My whole life, basically, yeah. Wow. But I've wanted to switch to Linux for a long time, but Linux can't do things that I need to do. Like for example, I'm an overclocker. You don't have good monitoring stuff on Linux where you can monitor all the system sensors and frequencies and everything, voltages that you have. I also play games, and like Linux gaming is making strides, leaps and bounds. It really is developing very quickly, but it's still not there. And some online games still ban you if you use Linux because of cheating protection. So it's still not there. But I'm just not gonna put up with this bullshit. I left Hacker News link to you guys. Basically, the summary of the story is that, as it turns out, Microsoft confirmed that they have a GU, like a global device ID, which stays consistent across all the applications, all the sessions, everything. It's like an identifier, like a secret identifier, basically tied to a unique Windows installation, right?
So bad.
Yeah. It's
a secret identifier card at the base root level of the device that nobody knew about. That's like really bad.
Yeah.
Like how could that be? How this doesn't even feel legal? That's really like anyway. Yeah. Like,
and let's not even mention like recall, and the anyways. Yeah. So Sudo is switching to maybe Catchy OS. Ray is telling me to switch to CatchOS. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't chosen a distro yet, so send me your suggestions. It could be CatchOS. I don't know. Whatever is best at gaming and sort of like reasonably easy to use. I'll probably go with that at first, and then we'll see. All right. Thanks for the great question, Ginny. Next one is from Rocio once again, and the question is, how can digital creators and tech platforms build sustainable models without compromising user data rights? That's a big question. I don't know if you want to open that kind of worms.
I've got I got a lot of things I could say about this question as well. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
I think that the current model is fundamentally broken at the root, I would say. Start again.
Start from scratch.
You find some good things. I mean, like, you go back to I had this conversation very briefly, like in like a thread today with someone, Charlie Cohen, who's like does some stuff in media too, and she posted about like MySpace said they're coming back. MySpace said they're coming back. Interesting, right? How are they going to do that? Are they going to go back to like the slow media? Media was slower. I think it's like boiling frogs. Things have evolved now to the point of how would I answer this very quickly? If I was going to say the one thing you could change would be the way monetization works. Right now it's advertising, and that's wrong. It benefits the wrong people. The creators don't have any. So X402, which funnily enough is come from cryptography roots with the same person who was, I think it was Chom X402 as well. I think that's what
I'm not sure.
Harry told me just before as well, who was obviously invented mixed nets too. But like looking at, I think the Cloudflare recently integrating stuff like API payments. Again, why wasn't this all integrated earlier? We chose to take the other route. Could have picked either. If you were to get paid for your media directly from consumers, like this, there is like models where you can explore the way things, like P2P media, basically. Peer-to-peer, you can cut out middlemen as much as possible. And technically the technology enables that. So
look, the only thing
that's the surface. Yeah, what would you say? Yeah,
the only thing that I would add to this, because Rocio is asking, how can digital creators and tech platforms? I would say that as a digital creator, it's going to be additional hassle to be on these platforms. It's always going to be additional hassle. It's always going to be more complicated than the sort of like UI maximized, $1 trillion companies that, I don't know, YouTube is. Like Alphabet is a huge company and it has YouTube. Obviously, it's going to be in a different league from something like, I can't remember the name of the alternative streaming platform that is sort of peer-to-peer as well. Anyways, it's going to be a different, more complicated game, but take the effort to be there. Even if you get like fewer views and whatever, no ad revenue, just be there, because that's how ultimately, if you build the catalog on these platforms, that's what gives them value, right? That's how the network effect can, like after a while at least, kick in. So I would suggest to be on these platforms. I
was gonna say this is a good like thought experiment, but like data rights. I mean, can you just find a way to, like, if Reddit does a $60 million deal a year to sell the data, pay some of it to users. Like, it's just that's the most simple.
The thing about that, this is a can of worms. This is a can of worms. But very quickly, I'll answer that. Something that Jaya, our CSO and mentor of mine, basically told me. I can also dig up a presentation of hers where she talks about this. There's sort of like let users monetize their own data idea. Is it's of course a well-intentioned idea, right? It's a proposed solution to that, like this huge unsolvable problem that we have currently with our very economic model that we basically live in. The problem with it, though, is that the money that you're going to get is minuscule, right? If you sell your own data, and the value that these companies generate, maybe not Reddit as much as Facebook or Google or Amazon, is from the surplus. And the surplus is not your behavior, but yours and mine and Rocio's and everybody's combined. And that's where the behavioral surplus in the book, in Shoshana's The Age of Surveillance Capitalism, right? this is what the behavioral surplus like. Here's my data, and then on top of that, if I have all this data, then I can connect the dots in a way that gives me extra information, and that's what leads to, by the way, being also able to down the line also being able to influence behavior at scale, which is like that's the jackpot.
That's what advertising is.
Exactly. Yeah. So it could be part of some kind of solution, but it's not. It's in my opinion, I agree with Jaya on this. I think it's not going to be the solution, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's it. Great question. Good thought experiment. I mean, that's like, it's probably one of the bigger ones. Like data rights is like, I look forward to that being one of the major issues that people talk about in the next however long, and standing for them.
Look, man, we have a whole bunch of questions still, and we officially ran out of time. Are you okay staying like 10 minutes and do?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm enjoying the convo. Yeah.
And then
I love talking about this stuff. Like you can tell. I'll just yeah.
We had the best conversation backstage leading up to this call, ladies and gentlemen. You can imagine we were both very excited to be able to jump on this call. All right, next one is also from Rocio. What fundamental digital right do you think will be under the greatest threat over the next 10 years? Oof, that's a fundamental digital right. I'll leave the guest go first because of out of courtesy.
Be under the greatest threat.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Look, obvious. Okay, you know what? We have to say privacy because it doesn't look like it's gonna go away, right? The threat to privacy. And as we have more and more devices that are more and more capable of collecting more and more types and volumes of data, and we also have like better and better capabilities of processing that data at scale. And we also have a sort of like tightening geopolitical environment where countries are sort of like in either in wars or close to be in wars, and there's a lot of information warfare going on. I would assume that the privacy situation is not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. I'm sorry to like revoke the sort of positive note we ended our chat on before we jumped into the questions, but I do see it that way. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that it's what's going to be the greatest threat. It's kind of, at the moment, it's every single right. So it's kind of I don't know. I think systemic answers on that one. It's kind of very individual. Maybe that's a very non-answer too. But it's like I could say like freedom of thought as well, but you could say that the root of that is privacy. See, it's getting very like I think that just if things continue and things like this tech, like NIM and Signal and Brave, and they are just alternatives that do this. They work and they protect your rights. Yep. If they don't start to really, I'd say it's already progressing that way. All of them, all of our rights disappear probably. If you go on the oligarchs, go back to depends on how doom you feel about the world, really.
Listen, I'm gonna brute force turning this into a positive thing. Okay, I'm gonna brute force it. So I just looked real quick at the EU Commission's page about digital rights, and I'm looking for I look for something that is gonna improve. By the way, here's the page. I'm gonna drop it in chat for our audience. Wait, sorry, just one moment. All comments. Here it is. So ready for what's going to improve? Freedom of choice, ladies and gentlemen. There is an awakening happening globally at the moment, which is where countries realize that, being fully dependent on US tech is not going to work. So a lot of sovereign stuff, a lot of local stuff, a lot of European stuff will be built, and the sort of the market rules of fair competition and for example, Apple cannot pull their bullshit anymore. They can't do the cable that only they use only so that they can sell that cable to you themselves, and you not buying USB-C cables, where stands for universal in USB, okay? It's universal. That's the whole point. And Apple does the non-universal USB. This sort of stuff, if the EU can't do anything about it, is going away, and including on the software side, which is very, very good news. So we'll have a lot of new choices, and we'll have a more like sort of level playing field amongst those choices, which I think is going to be a really, really good thing, because a lot of the companies that get away with all kinds of bullshit now are not going to be able to do that if there's going to be proper, fair competition. So yeah,
this exactly the same point of what I was kind of like, I was not trying to be doom building that, but like, there is, unfortunately, if you don't self-regulate, like, you should just find a balance. Like, I don't know what different advertising industries, like advertising self-regulates in Australia, for example. It's like, when if you do certain things, you'll then get banned. It's illegal. So if you have to, there's just a limit, because obviously profit and capitalism can go so far, but there's just like there's a balance of stuff. So yeah, it'll come back. You're right. Freedom of choice. That's nice. It's a nice positive thing we could look forward to. So yeah,
exactly.
Pull it back into the positive.
All right. Thank you for the great question, Rocio, and thanks for the answer, Aaron. Next one from Ray. Good question. Recently, there's such a wave of no reason auto bans for no reason on Instagram. Then you have to take a face scan or ID scan to request review. What do you think? Is it AI incompetence or intentional? Very good question. Look, I'll be fair with this one, okay? We really can't imagine the amount of shit that a company or like a platform like Instagram has to filter out. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, the amount of bot accounts, and sort of both for scams and for misinformation campaigns, both by individuals and companies and governments, is just absolutely insane, right? Mm-hmm. So doing something against that is understandable. And doing something against that in a manual way is literally impossible. Probably even if everyone on Earth would be doing that job, even then we wouldn't have enough people to sort of revise all the accounts and sort of be able to decide. Now, that said, there is a definitive trend these days of moving towards like ID gating more and more things on the internet. This is sort of like the whole age verification thing is entirely about that, right? Like ID gating your access to these and these applications, whether you're young or not, so whether you're under 18 or not, you're being ID gated, right? Even a 70-year-old person will have to like provide an ID to prove that they are not underage. So there is a push towards this, and I think this could very well be that we can't prove that it's not like a one manifestation of that, in my opinion. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, it's like, I think there's like a wider, it's a Black Mirror episode really, of AI making choices that affect our lives like quite significantly.
Yeah.
I've got a half, this is like actually like a story I'm half like researching. One of my friends, he's like, he had a credit card or whatever, some sort of thing. And an AI decided that it was no longer valid despite only being approved like a month ago or something, right? So they canceled it immediately. Like, the AI did all this, AI automated, couldn't talk to a person about it. And AI decided no, instantly canceled it, sent it to a debt collector immediately. There's no like no reprieve or anything. Still in the normal window of payment terms, but all of this happening with just AI, and the AI automating just choices everywhere, and there's no human in the loop. The impact of that is like, I don't know, it could get hairy fast.
Yeah.
How do you, the appeal process maybe? I don't know. But yeah.
Look, I'll just mention this. I follow a lot of YouTubers. My main platform where I consume content and news and I learn things is YouTube. I have a lot of people I subscribe to, and the number of times I saw these like well-intentioned people who don't create like any extremist or whatever content that shouldn't have a place on YouTube getting banned, restricted, or hit with some kind of an action in an automated way, and then trying to appeal, but getting basically very clearly not actually being seen by a human, but actually just getting an automated message where we reviewed, and unfortunately is the same, even though it's visibly a stupid problem, and they have to go to like maybe like a bigger creator who has the following on Twitter where if they post something, then YouTube will notice, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we revised. It happens a lot. It doesn't just happen on YouTube; it happens everywhere. And this, like you said, this is the environment now where people, like, when you create videos, right, in 2026, if you want to put it in front of people, you will choose YouTube for that. You are you have no control over this monolith. It's like so much bigger than you are, right? But you are sort of like dependent on it if you want your content to reach people. And it doesn't really have clear rules. It doesn't have good, thoughtful moderation. It's a scary thing, to
you get deplatformed. It's the same as debanked. You're getting deplatformed, and if you've built your career on that, it's arguably worse than getting debanked. So like if I were to lose my YouTube channel, I don't know, I just try to make it whole, I guess, but like you'd lose your audience if you haven't like you have to hedge that on other things, because like you're losing like something that could be worth like your livelihood. And it is like, so an AI is going to go around and cancel that with everyone. Like, yeah, it does have, it's bad, especially when they don't have a clear appeals process. It's
exactly. That's the big one. Thank you for the question. It was thought-provoking. Thank you, Ray. Next one, and I think this is the last one we'll have time for, because we're already 15 minutes over time. It's very late where Aaron is, and I also have some other stuff to take care of, ladies and gentlemen. So this will be the last one that we can pick up. So Ocean Specific says, what I don't like about AI is how companies keep using it as a buzzword when no actual AI is involved. It's not really a question, it's a statement, but we will still address it. I, as a tech head, okay, as someone who loves technology and I follow tech releases, like new processor comes out, I will know about it. New GPU comes out, I will know about it. New phone comes out, I will know about it. The number of times I heard AI in keynotes, in presentations, in product names is absolutely crazy. It's driving me nuts. It's like if anything could make me want to use AI even less, it would be this bullshit. Like I don't know who cares at this point, or like who sort of falls for this stuff. But like if you put AI in your product name, in my eyes, I'm already like sus, Is it horrible? It could be horrible. They're just trying to use the buzzword. It's really horrible. It's horrible. It's very annoying.
I think the script flips too. I think it's net negative. I think majority of the population at the moment, I mean, it's actually, the statistic came out. I think it's over 50% of Americans that don't feel positively about AI. So like, it's definitely, it's funny. It's in the tech bubble, in the tech world, especially like Silicon Valley and stuff. There's it's got overused almost.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing as like when there's just so many, the acceleration of things being created as well is overwhelming. And it's also, it's almost like a lot of things of the same thing being created, which is named AI. So you're just seeing it everywhere.
So-called A, so-called I. That's yeah. Anyways, so you know what? There's a very quick one. Go ahead. I
was going to try to make it positive, but please do.
Make it positive. Make it positive. Always open to I
was going to say, it wasn't going to be high value. I was going to say, but AI is so great. But I don't even know if I feel that way. I'm mixed. I'm 50-50.
It's actually good. It's actually good. It's a neutral. It's a neutral technology, depending on what you use it for. Okay. All right. Yeah. A quick one. This is a really quick fire question, so maybe we'll have time for this. Jeannie's asking: is it cold in Australia right now? You're in the winter time, right?
Yeah, it's technically winter. It's like I was living in the UK for 2 years, so I can't really say it's cold here, because it's hot here comparative to Europe in winter, or different parts of Europe, but in the UK specifically. Yeah, I don't know what temperature is. I'd say this is like I could probably take it off. It's not very thick. I just got a t-shirt underneath, so yeah, it's like medium. Australia is pretty much endless summer, though. I realized once living overseas, it's endless summer here. I took it for granted.
Nice. Endless summer is the way we like it. All right.
Yeah.
Look, let's wrap up here because I took more of your time than I originally agreed. So again, a super fun conversation. I was really looking forward to having it, and had a bunch of fun here. I hope I can have you back at some point. Maybe to talk about that algorithm stuff that we were sort of scratching the surface of. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, no, I'm grateful to be here. I'm hopeful that more and more people learn about the good tech. I mean, this is like some of the good tech. So I think there's a lot of, I mean, that's the focus of the last however long. It's been like, without realizing as well, like often bad tech, tech that prioritizes different things. And that's like what a free market should enable is like the good tech winning as well. So I'm grateful to be here. Had a really good chat, and it was cool to have all the questions too. Some of them I'm going to think about more too, the data rise stuff. So, and the temperature here. So yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime. I'm super happy to have you back anytime. Now, the last thing that we have to do here, of course, is a little tradition here at NIM Community Calls. We give out an NFT for those who hang out with us. You can also claim your own, Aaron, if you want. It's called a POAP. Cool. And you need to go to the usual place. Sal, drum roll. Please bring the thing on screen. Yes, you need to go to the same place. Wait, let's move ourselves. Wait, how do I move?
Is that you're doing the
exactly
conspiracy theory? We could go for.
Yes.
But we can't get into that. Yeah. Is that talented? I don't know.
I was just about to ask you. Okay, now you can see the link. So you need to go to nim.com/go/poap, and the password is Pharmacon, the aforementioned Pharmacon, which Aaron sort of explained what it means. And do you want to say anything about this logo here, which is epic logo?
There's some. I'll quote. There's an investigative journalist, Whitney Webb, and she had some basically. Connected a few dots. Some of them you could say aren't confirmed, but this was a actual government US agency in 19-something, 90-something. The Information Awareness Office linked to someone called Poindexter, and that's the actual logo of the government agency, like the actual an all-seeing eye in a pyramid at the whole Earth. And then in 2002 or 2003. This was like people were unhappy about this logo. Obviously, they closed the government agency down, and that same year, Palantir was founded, and then Palantir's client for 6 years after was the CIA.
Oh yeah,
and this was the CIA agency. So there's some arguments. The whole argument that it's mild conspiracy, but some of it is pretty convenient. It's just that one dot that's not officially connected, really. Is that Palantir is actually a government private thing to do the dirty work of the stuff they can't say they did themselves.
Listen, and so the person who came up with this logo I will consult them for branding advice. It's just like probably the worst possible choice when it comes to just the overall vibes. So good job. I'm reading the Wikipedia page of Information Awareness Office, which everyone should read. It's a fascinating read. What they want to achieve here, and I quote, "Total information awareness." TIA is what we're aiming for. So maybe that could be a closing remark or like a closing best wish. I wish you total information awareness, Aaron, and see you next time on one of these calls.
Yeah, the eye is watching.
Wait, I just want to bring you back for a full. Yeah, there we are.
Cool.
Bye, man. It was lovely to hang out with you. And catch you next time. And to our dear audience, of course, thanks everyone for listening. Thank you for the beautiful questions. Hopefully you learned something today. Make sure to check out Aaron's YouTube channel. I'm telling you, it's a very good one. So you're not going to be wasting your time. And see you all next week with another